A friend recently told me that if you had spent the same amount of time that you spend on books on video games, I would have called you a gamer. But does that make me a bookworm? That's what I'm going to find out in this video. This channel is called Becoming a Bookworm, and that's obviously my goal, or at least read a lot of books. And in this video I'm going to talk about if I think I've become a bookworm, but also what does it actually mean being a bookworm. I think the word in itself, bookworm, isn't all that great just because it has the word worm in it, and that doesn't seem that positive. But I think we can all agree on that we all think it's a positive thing. Let me first try to describe what I think about when I think about bookworms. First of all, I think of it as a badge of honor because reading is something I've always viewed as a positive thing and something I want to be doing. I view bookworms as the people that has books as their main hobby. Basically the people that lives through the books and the stories and the pages and really can't get enough of books. Then I made a category I'm calling Bookworm Plus, TM, and these are the people that dwell on words and sentences and have huge enjoyment of the actual words. And these are also people that can recite poetry and where I see poetry as a part of their personality and a way of living, which I hugely admire. So this was an early definition of what a bookworm was, just because I needed to know where all this was going. But after a while hanging around in these communities, I've learned quite a lot. The first thing that actually surprised me about bookworms is that they quit books. I didn't think that was a possibility, and that's entirely my fault, just because I struggled to quit books. And I thought if you loved books, you loved all the books you read. Looking back at it, it seems so stupid, but these were some of my thoughts. Also a big surprise to me is that readers take breaks. They can also experience reading ruts, even though they love books. And this was a huge surprise to me. I thought readers just read. And when looking for tips to how to read more, you're always suggested that just pick up a new book. But that doesn't always work. So that's something I've learned. One thing I've been thinking a lot about, just because I'm wondering how this will affect me in the future, is that people that have been reading for quite some time, they often read the same types of books or the same genre, or they don't change out their topics that much. I've always been thinking that people that read, they read everything, but that doesn't seem to be the case, and I really understand why. Of course, many readers change it up quite a bit, but it's very easy to see, especially on Instagram, how people tend to go back to the things they love. And that's something I really understand. The thing that actually surprises me is how people talk about other people's reading, because I sometimes get comments like, you should read this book slower. You can't get the full picture if you read it that fast. But for me, reading a book fast only means that I enjoyed the book, so that can't be negative, especially not for anyone else than myself. So this annoys me a bit, just because people should enjoy the books they read for themselves. And it's easy to think about other people judging you when reading. I know all about that. So people should just enjoy the things they read and not be hung up on what anyone else reads or how they read. That's just weird. So what is my bookworm progress so far? Well, I would say I read a lot. I read about one book a week. That's also my goal for this year. And I'm maybe too hung up on that goal, but I'm enjoying the reading, and I basically spent all my time outside of work and making these videos reading. There's always a book with me wherever I go. I'm still very much enjoying the stories and the characters in the books. The language isn't something that affects me that much, but I can sort of think to myself that this book had a very simple language, whereas this book had a complex language. And I would say that in one of 20 books, I recognized that I liked the language as well, and the language played an important role in the book for me. But I really struggled to find what I like about the language, and it's difficult to articulate why this language is especially good for me as a reader. So this is something I will try to figure out some more, but I feel like I need to get a bit more technical before I can more easily understand why I love something. At this point, I only know that I like simple language without thinking that it's simple, if that made sense. Will I become more bookwormish in the future? Well, I think the most important thing I've learned about this bookworm journey is that I now know which books I like. so I can more easily find out if a book is going to work for me or not. This was probably impossible to do before, because then I thought I would only read classics, because then I knew that they were good and they would give me something, but they seldom did. Now I know which authors I like, or genres I like, or plots I like. I also know how to steer clear of the reading ruts if I'm going near one. I've also established the habit of bringing a book with me wherever I go. Whether it's travel or just going in the next room, I always bring a book, so I'm sure that something's going to be read. I also know now that I'd rather read a book than sit on my cell phone, and that also helps a lot. If there are some days that I don't get to read that much, I always know that I'm going to read before I go to sleep, and just to put in 10 to 20 pages before I go to sleep is a good feeling. It's a feeling of progress. Lately, some of my friends have also started to recognize me as the person who reads in the group, which is a very, very good feeling. That's something I thought I would really like when I started this YouTube channel, and I really do. Unless you have quizzes where people just expect you to know everything about books. Then I begin to struggle. But all of these things combined are great for me when I'm going further into my reading journey. To sum this video up, I think I've become a bookworm without realizing it. And the reason why I haven't realized it is maybe my need to generalize as much as I do. Which is apparent in the start of this video. Because I really love the stories and what they bring. I also like the physical books, collecting of books, reading about authors, hearing about new books, and all of that. Which has to mean that I've become a bookworm. The only thing I'm still wondering about is what would have happened if I just stopped reading books. And this is maybe where I think I'm not become a bookworm, because I think I could stop reading books. I made a video about me not reading for a week, but I think if I stopped reading for a year, I think I could do it. I still don't think I would have liked doing it, but in some ways I'm sort of tempted to find out. But I won't. I think. So let's just conclude that I've become a bookworm, but I'm not changing my name on this YouTube channel just yet. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you will follow my journey forward, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!